Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Congressman Jim Jordan.
Hey, thank you for that nice. You haven't heard me talk yet. I mean, what are you doing? But great to be with. Yeah, we are. I know you've listened to a lot of folks, and you got a lot more speakers. Let me just say a couple things. I learned a long time ago. I don't pretend to have all the answers by any stretch of imagination, but I learned a long time ago, good things don't just happen. You want to accomplish anything of meaning, anything of significance, you want to make a difference, you got to take the risks, you got to get off the sidelines, you got to get in the game. And I just came here to say thanks. You are the energy in the political process right now. You've been the energy in the political process. So thank you for what you're doing. It's making a huge, huge difference. And it's not easy. You get involved, you get called all kinds, and the press, I'll let y'all in a little secret, the mainstream press doesn't like you all that much, right? So you subject yourself to all kinds of criticism. There's a great line, I may have shared this with you before. Cal Thomas has a great line when he talks about the way normal people see things and the way the New York Times sees things, right? He has a great line. He says, I get up every morning, I read my Bible and the New York Times so I can see what each side's up to. Right? There's some, like all good humor, there's some truth there. But, and Jenny Beth, by the way, did a great job. She testified in our hearing this morning. Did an outstanding job on this proposed rule at the IRS, which is a bunch of baloney. I'll talk about that in a second. But let me just say this, and you all know this is why you're involved. Freedom is under attack. And I want to just give you one example, and you may have seen this, watched this a couple weeks ago, because she's a lady just like all of us in this room. Catherine Engelbrecht, Houston, Texas. Now think about this. 20 years of business. She never had OSHA visit her business. She'd never had the FBI visit her. In 20 years of business, never happened. She never had ATF visit her business. The only interaction she had with the IRS was filing her annual return. But she applies for tax-exempt status after starting a group called True the Vote, which was making a difference. That's why they went after her, because she was effective. She files for tax-exempt status. None of those organizations ever had any interaction with her. She files for tax-exempt status. OSHA shows up at her business. FBI visits her 6 times, 2 in person, 4 on the phone. ATF shows up at her business. And her personal and business records get audited by the IRS. All because she was exercising one of our most fundamental rights. First Amendment, religious freedom, press, assembly, speech. And speech, the most fundamental component of that is your right to speak out against your government, political speech. And this very government was attacking that very thing. So thank you for what you're doing. It's not easy. You get attacked for doing it, but it's making a huge difference. And we saw that today in our committee hearing. Now think about this too. We had 6 witnesses. Even the Democrat witness is against the rule. 94,000 more comments on this proposed rule than any in the history of the Internal Revenue Service. Unprecedented. Almost all those comments are negative. We had Jenny Beth sitting beside the ACLU. We had the Motorcyclists Association of America sitting beside the homeschoolers. I mean, think about this. From Tea Party to ACLU, homeschoolers to Harley riders, we had the whole gamut, right? Everyone is opposed. Everyone in the country knows this rule's a mess, except this administration, right? Everyone knows this is a violation of your most fundamental rights, your First Amendment rights, except this administration, who started the targeting, interestingly enough, about the same time the Tea Party movement started. So thank you for what you're doing. I'll finish with this. Just like Mr. Hulskamp did. It's a great country and it's worth fighting for. I travel all over the place, all over our district, all over the state of Ohio, all over the country, and there are people who are anxious about where their country is going. But the good news is there are people who are anxious about where our country is headed. Lots of people just like you who want to get involved and make a difference. And think about how great this nation is. I live just north of Dayton, Ohio, about a year and a half ago. We had some friends in the Dayton area say, come on down, we're going to tour the Wright brothers home, then we're going to go out to dinner. We said, okay, my wife and I, we had the day off, we said, we'll do it. We go to the Wright brothers home. You get a nice tour. You learn about the Wright brothers. You go through the home they lived in there in the Dayton area. The last room you go to, the last room they take you to, they show you two pictures. First picture, 1903, first flight, Kitty Hawk, and this, y'all remember from school, the picture of this thing they called an airplane flew 101 feet, right? Literally, it flew like 101 feet. They show you that picture, and you go, oh, I remember that from school, learning that in history, and it sort of takes you back. They put that down. Next picture they hold up, 1947, 44 years later, 1947, Chuck Yeager breaking the sound barrier. It's an amazing place. I walked out of that room and I thought, I represent Wapakoneta, Ohio. I walked out of the room and I thought, what the heck are they doing? They should have showed us the third picture. 22 years later, 1969, a guy from Wapakoneta, Ohio, from our district, stepped on the moon. Now think about it. In 66 years, two guys flying in this contraption they called an airplane 101 feet. 66 years later, another American steps on the moon. Don't tell me it's not a great country. Don't tell me we can't deal with anything, even this Internal Revenue Service, and get through it, right? 2 Timothy 4:7, Paul writes, I've fought the good fight, I've finished the course, I've kept the faith. That's our charge. That's always been the American attitude and approach to things. If we do that, good things will happen. God bless you.